What is going on, everyone? AP over here at Run Pure Sports. Bringing to you once again, we have the Lineup Builder show with our partners SaberSim. I got my two guys in here. We got Snyder. We got Uncle T. Uncle T, let's bring you in first. How's it going? How was the Open Championship for you, my man?
Yeah, definitely talked to you a little bit pre-show. Definitely was not a good tournament for me. We're all transparent for sure when we come on these shows, especially a week after. It just wasn't very good. You know, it's a tournament we all three look forward to. It's the last major of the year. And, yeah, my teams did not do very well. I think I returned maybe 25% of my entries. So it was definitely a rough week for me. Rory obviously shit the bed and just completely – I mean, he really quit after that first round, in my opinion. Didn't even really have any heart. And then obviously Phenom, we'll talk about him quite a bit here at the top of the show with this tournament. But Phenom played bad. I think he shot even part of the first round and maybe an 80 or so, maybe 81 the second day. Got off to a horrible start. So I don't want to keep going on it. It was a bad week, and I even pre-show there just sent Snyder $100 on his Calla over Bryson. So congratulations to Snyder. I might even owe you money too, but what was ours, AP? I might even owe you money. Dude,
I have no idea. I have no idea. I think we had the fire throw, remember, guess.
I had Spieth over somebody.
Dude,
I think Spieth lost.
I have no idea. We'd have to run
JT. Who did JT beat him? I don't even know.
Yeah, he did. I think
JT beat him.
He had to have. Yeah.
Let me look. I probably owe you 50 too. So hold on.
Yeah, I think it was just 50.
Spider, get in here. I'll 50. Look
it up. I completely forgot about that. I mean,
I did too until just now.
4 rounds of golf and drinking and just complete degenerate type stuff. It was a lot of fun.
Hopefully we tied somehow.
No, I mean, JT. Oh, here. The other thing too with Phenom and those guys, I mean, they had the bad side of the weather draw, 35, 40 mile an hour gusts. It was crazy. Snyder, what's going on, my man? How was the Open Championship for you?
Yeah, it actually was all right. I had a big Sunday. I still lost a little bit on DraftKings, but I actually won a couple dollars on FanDuel.
Sorry, Spieth. So, hold on, Snyder. Spieth beat him somehow by one.
No. Okay.
Somehow, yeah.
We saw that live. Like the live. I love the live reaction right there.
Yeah, my bad, Snyder. Yeah, I love it. All right.
Yeah, I forgot they did both make the cut. So, all I did on Sunday was, we had baseball, and then I just watched the Open, laid on the couch. I was exhausted. But Snyder, what's going on, my man?
Yeah, I did all right on FanDuel. DraftKings, I lost a little bit, but I had Xander on a couple of teams, which really helped get most of my money back on DraftKings. So that was good. I thought I was dead in the sheets after Friday, but because I had a decent amount of Rory. I had some other guys that didn't really do that good. But, it was a fun time sweating golf early in the morning. I was out early for the member guest. That is solid. They had some really good I don't even know what the heck the dessert was Saturday night for the main meal. It was unreal.
Yeah. Never mind. I didn't have two of them. They had a concert out there Friday. Saturday was fun. So, looking forward to this event. Just diving in, I actually kind of like this event quite a bit. I really like a couple of builds that we'll get into as the show goes on. Yeah, it is interesting, too. We've seen, one of the first things I did is, I think I do it almost every single year. I'm like, all right, the Open Championship, these guys that played in that event, which is usually brutal, especially when you get weather. And then the travel is also crazy, the time differences. How does it impact these guys? Well, it's actually not that crazy. We've seen Tony Finau win coming off Open. We've seen a lot of good performances. So while you might think it could have an impact on certain players, we really haven't seen that when you look at the data over the last 3-4 years. So, but we did see some really surprising performances. Billy Horschel was impressive. Sam Burns was awesome. I was really impressed with those guys. Obviously Sam Burns, day 4, not as good. So it is going to be interesting. And I think the other big thing is chalk. And I have SaberSim's flagship ownership up this week. I actually like it, how it's set up. I think ours, when I looked at ours, it's a little too conservative. Sometimes we see these chalk plays really, really spike and get very overowned. I haven't looked at any other ownership projections, so
though. So just, full disclosure, I usually lean on you, Snyder, and, the other content here at Run Pure Sports for that. Snyder, course preview, and then let's get into our breakdown into SaberSim.
Yeah, we're here at TPC Twin Cities. Here, it's giving me a par 71 that's going to measure 7,431 yards. This track is going to feature slightly larger than average greens. Here, going to measure 6,500 square feet on average. These bent grass greens will be rolling at around 12 to 12 and a half on the stem meter. Golfers going to see water on almost every hole here. 15 of the 18 holes are going to have water in play this week. Last year, Lee Hodges won this event at a minus 24, so it's likely that we see another birdie fest here this week. They have the rough playing a little longer this year to try and make it a little tougher. So the rough will be playing at 4 inches this year, up a little bit from the previous years. So the fairways are generous here, though. They're going to measure right around 34 yards wide on average. The par 5 18th hole is a great finishing hole for this event. It can make or break you there. The potential on this hole is pretty wild here with the risk reward it presents. So I love the 18th here. Should be a fun finish here. To have success here, golfers are going to need a hot putter and avoid these water hazards as the greens have been easy to hit here on average. Last year, 73% of the greens in regulation were hit, so it'll be easy to hit those. I'll be weighing course history a decent amount this week as well. Some other key stats we'll be looking at: strokes gained approach, off the tee, bogey avoidance, birdie or better percentage, opportunities gained, and then putting as well, especially on bent grass surfaces.
Yeah, birdie fest, another birdie fest with this track specifically, easier to hit fairway. I want bombers, man. I want the guys that can hit it a long ways and put themselves in a good position to make birdies. That's exactly what we need. If you're new with us, here's what we do. We have SaberSim up. Awesome tool. We're going to go tier by tier like we always do each and every week. We're going to talk about the players in each tier. These guys are going to sell me on who to bump up, who to bump down. And at the end, we're going to do a show build, and I'm going to run the contest sims this time too. It'll be interesting too because some of these ownership projections are way up there. So it's going to be fascinating to see how that impacts some of the contest sims versus how we alter these projections. So let's get into it. Uncle T, I'm going to start with you. The 10K and up range, it's only 3 guys, and that's fine. But talk to me about this range. Sam Burns, Theegala, Tony Finau. What are you doing with these guys?
Yeah, what's up, Jason, Richie, and chat? Appreciate you stopping in and joining us again tonight. All our normal Tuesday guys. You guys are awesome. Yeah, looking at this, guys, for me, it's interesting because clearly it's a lesser field. It's a really lesser field. Coming off the, a couple big tournaments, coming off a major. You got Tony Finau up here. So when I looked up the pricing here, 10.5, and then you got Theegala 10.3, Burnsy at 10K flat. For me, I analyze these 3 guys up top here, and I don't think it's close. I think Tony Finau should be probably 11.5 in my opinion. Again, we talked about last week. I'm not going to knock the guy too much. He shot an even par round. He was on the bad end of the weather draw. He missed the cut. I love the flop leg here, first off. He plays well here. 3 top 10s, including a win in his last 4 trips. And even actually, nothing worse than a 28th the last 5 trips here. So I love Tony Finau here. You combine the history. I'm thinking about just locking him, guys. I just don't think there's a big enough gap. If you go back, and I know it's a totally different tournament, totally different field, but if you look at the pricing on where these guys were at even last week, it's just not that big of a gap for me, in my opinion, to validate playing Theegala, who has horrible course history, hasn't made the cut here yet, missed the cut at Troon last week. So he's probably an easy click out for me, a delete. And then Burnsy here, I do like Burnsy as a player. And, last week he was in, I think, either the second or third to last group, and then he shot an 80. Can't bang a guy for 1 bad round. He played really good for 3 rounds. He ended up T31. So for me, I'm going to make it pretty easy. I'm playing Finau, and I'm thinking about locking him. I don't know if I'll lock him on every team, but I'll probably be 60, 70% on Finau, and I'm going to just totally fade the other 2 guys.
Yeah, a really good mention. And Finau, one of the guys that was in the bad side of the weather draw, had insane form coming in. Multiple three top 10s in a row. Travelers, U.S. Open, Memorial. He was a very popular play in DFS last week. I think we can overlook the weather. So absolutely love that call. He's going to be very popular. And obviously golf, there's a lot of, variables that go into it. And so it'll be interesting showing kind of the different, if we sort by projected score versus contest sim. I'm really interested to see, even if we give Finau a big projection, like look at it. He's projected well above everyone else. And I bumped it even more. It's going to be really interesting to see how it's impacted in the sim. So I'm with you. I like Finau as well. I'm definitely going to be on him. Theegala, I think I'll go and say he's not going to miss this cut 4 times in a row. I feel pretty confident about that. He should make, this is a tournament he should do very well in. But Snyder, let's go to you. The top 3 guys: Burnsy, Theegala, Finau. What are you doing up here?
Yeah, I'm right there with Uncle T. I think Finau is too cheap, and this is his cheapest price tag in the last 4 times he's played this event. He was priced at 10.5 one other time 2 years ago, and he won the event at 10.5. Last year he was 10.6, 10.7, and then 10.9 is where he's been for the last 4 times entering this event. He was priced at $12K also for the Mexico Open down there. Another place that he's got great course history at. So I think he's just, underpriced here. Like you said, he got the bad weather draw there at the Open. He was T8 or better in the last 3 events heading into that stateside. Lost over 4 strokes off the tee in that bad weather wave in round 2. So I'm just gonna chalk that up as a write-off there. I may even lock Finau as well. I'm actually only gonna play 3 guys, I think, 9K and up, because I really like the even type build, going more even balanced. I think there's a lot of win equity in the 8K range and 7K range, so I think I'm just going to build my teams out pretty even type build. So Finau, and then pass on Burnsy and Theegala for me this week.
All right, very good. Let's get into this next range, and again, I'm with you guys on Finau. We're running the contest sims for this one. Obviously, field ownership is going to have a big, significant impact, because if for some reason if Finau misses the cut here or performs poorly and you end up fading him, obviously you're going to leapfrog over a lot of lineups. So, and what I love about the contest sims and running simulations, it's going to factor that in. So we're giving him a big projection here, and so it'll be interesting when we review this to see where he lands. Let's go right back to you, Snyder. Then we'll go to Uncle T. 9K range. Our boy Akshay, all the way down to Keegan. What are you doing with this range? We got Luke Clanton right there, another RPS hero as well. What are you doing with this 9K range?
I really like Akshay here. I think he's got the second best odds to win this event. I missed cut last week, but I love the flop leg spot here. Much better spot for him this week. As he gets back stateside, he was T2 at the Rocket Mortgage, T5 at the Travelers, T16 at the U.S. Open, heading up to that. We know he's got the upside to win at these Birdie Fest, too, as we've seen already this year. So definitely in on Akshay. I think he builds off of that T2 at the Rocket Mortgage in his last event and is right there in contention on Sunday. So I'm going to be heavy on him. And then the other guy I'm going to play, I'm not going to play Horschel. I'm not going to play Keith Mitchell. I know Keith Mitchell's kind of getting talked up a little bit, has a couple of good finishes here, T5 in 23 and then a 5th in 21. But the form is just not there. He's going to get ownership, too. He's going to be at least 20% ownership, I think. So I'm going to play Finau heavy, and I'm just going to cut Killer Keith.
Did we lose Uncle T?
He might be spinning. I don't know where.
He went dark, and then the screen kept going off and on, and then now it's just like something just going around his head. Anyway, sorry. Keep going.
Yeah. I think I'm going to fade Poston, too. I think he's going to be another guy that kind of gets steamed up. I'm going to play Luke Clanton, though. I really like him. Yeah, he's been a great ball striker in his last 4 PGA starts. Showed the upside. He knows he can compete in these Birdie Fests as well. He was the runner-up at the John Deere Classic in T10 at the Rocket Mortgage. A couple other easy Birdie Fests with softer fields like this. He's made at least 18 birdies and 1 eagle in his last 3 events, including 26 birdies at the John Deere. So we know he's got that upside. He's averaging 7.5 strokes gained ball striking in these 4 events, which includes the U.S. Open. So
love the upside that Clanton has. So I'm going to be heavy Finau, Akshay, Clanton up top.
Oh, man. You know what, Uncle T? He'll be back, and we'll get his kind of summarized thoughts in this range. I'm with you, though, on Luke Clanton. I think this dude is a stud. It's insane how good he has been, especially on the PGA Tour. Obviously, the sample size is very small. And so for me, it's, a lot of it has to do with ownership. If ownership is really starting to tick up, I love what DraftKings has done with his price tag. They've really bumped him up, and that should cap ownership just a little bit. We talked about this the last time we were talking about him, and he absolutely delivered. I think this is another course that really fits his game as well. So I'm with you on Luke Clanton. I have a little bit more interest in Keith Mitchell. Like the odds on him. I like how he profiles for this course. But can I play him over Akshay and, some of these other guys up top? I don't think so. And then Keegan Bradley. Did you have interest in him? Or did you talk about Keegan? Or it's just kind of, we'll see where he lands? I have a little bit of interest in Keegan.
He's got really bad odds for the price there.
Okay.
I'd rather play some other guys above him. I guess on Pinnacle he's 35-1. Clanton's got better odds. Hoagie, there's even a couple guys in the 8K range that's got better odds than him. So he's fine. I mean, he's got the upside. I mean, if Keegan gets hot here, he can definitely contend and win this event. But I think I'm just going to be off. I'm just going to get overweight on those three guys and let the cards fall where they do.
Yeah. Uncle T just texted me. They lost power. I mean, that makes more sense because his lights all went off and then everything else went off. So that makes sense. Uncle T will be back when he's back. So I like this range. I like what we've done here. Obviously, we're bumping up Clanton. We're trying to prioritize him. The price is still nice. Ownership-wise, I think we'll be fine. And then for me, I like Keith Mitchell, and then I'm with you on Akshay. So I feel very good about those guys. Let's go down to the 8K range. We have Cam Davis all the way down to Patrick Rogers, who I actually have some interest in this week. What are you doing with this range, Snyder?
I think this 8K range is pretty loaded. I think there's a lot of guys here. I think these guys have just as much upside as anybody above them priced up. Maybe not Finau, but just as much upside as any of those guys. You got Cam Davis, great course history here. The game's on a big upward spin after winning at the Rocket Mortgage and has a scoring average of 67.5 in his last 8 rounds. So love the upside that Cam Davis brings in a birdie fest like this. So he'll definitely be in the pool for me. He's got some good finishes here, though, too. A T10, T16, T12, and 3 of his last 4 trips. So he's strong there. I think Pendrith, he's already has a win this year. We've seen him post 20-plus birdies multiple times this year. So love the upside that Pendrith has here, too. I mean, there's just so much guys here. EVR, he's a guy that went to college here close by in the University of Minnesota, which I believe is within like an hour or less of this course. So, he's probably pretty comfortable playing in this area on this course. He's been strong in these birdie fests as well. He was T6 at the Rocket Mortgage, T4 at Myrtle Beach, T2 at the Cognizant, which is another course kind of like this with a lot of water in play. And then he was T8 at Mexico as well. So I think EVR is a strong upside play. You got Grillo there with the great course history. You can go to Lee Hodges. He
played good at the Open as well, or he was playing decent at the Open.
Yeah,
made the cut, but I'm with you.
Rogers, McNeely have the upside down here. Dunlop just won. I don't know how he will back that up here, but I mean, there's just so much upside, I think, in this 8K range. So that's why I'm only going to play 3 guys, 9K and up, because I really like mixing and matching a lot of these 8K guys, kind of go more even build type.
I'm with you there. All right, Uncle T, you're back. Briefly touch on the 9Ks just to recap that. Snyder loves Akshay. Not so much Keith Mitchell. I like Keith Mitchell. And then we both really like Luke Clanton. Poston, Bradley is kind of And Billy Ho, we are both under on as well.
Yeah, not sure what happened. My whole power went out in the whole house and flickered. I have no idea because it's sunshine.
We saw it flicker, and then we saw this thing just like twirling in a circle.
Same thing happened here at the house. Everything flickered and went out. It had nothing to do with the internet.
And I did what I always do and interrupted Snyder, mid like talking about his guys.
Yeah. But anyway, real quick on the 9K range. I don't mind Akshay here at 9,800, but he's not my favorite go-to. In this range, I'm out on Horschel. I love the way he played last week. I didn't have much of him. Played a little showdown of Billy Ho, but I can't pay 9,600. Keith Mitchell, as you guys know, I never ever get right, and he's been just so boom and bust lately. I know he's got the good course history, but I think I'm going to fade Mitchell as well. Luke Clanton's a guy I'm going to go to here. Kind of fell back a little bit the last tournament, T36, but young guy. Hits it far, 25-1 to win at the golf tournament. I like some Luke Clanton. JT Poston, I want to like a little more because he's got pretty good history here and plays this course well. But, man, he's been playing a little bit rough. So I don't mind maybe some Poston, and then I'm out on Keegan Bradley. So, for me, I'll probably have a little bit of Clanton, possibly Akshay. But I like Bill's skipping this whole 9K range and just starting with Finau and going right down to the 8K range. And I'll go into the 8K range since I think Snyder already went into it. But I think these guys have, again, looking at the odds, looking at the history, everything kind of together, these guys could easily be flip-flopped with a few of these guys in the 9K range, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think, but like Cam Davis playing really, really good golf, coming off the big win 3 weeks ago at the Rocket. And he's playing well, and he's going to a course where he's played well. So, excuse me. I like Cam Davis, Tom Hoagie. Again, it feels odd paying 8,800 for Tom Hoagie, but another pretty good course fit. Coming off a couple tough weeks after the T3, I think that might have been at the Rocket as well. A couple tough weeks after that good finish, but I don't mind him here. Pendrith, I'm kind of indifferent on. I don't really have a strong take on Pendrith. Out on EVR, Griot, I like quite a bit. I'm not sure what kind of ownership Griot is going to come in at. I would assume since he's got the good course history, it'll be up there in the high teens. But comes in not playing very good golf. So, and we have a few of these guys this week, guys, where they're coming in and just poor form, but they're coming to a place where they've played well. So we got to kind of adjust and see how we want to play that. So. I don't mind some Griot, depending on the ownership. Dunlap, I like quite a bit. I think he could easily win this week as well. McNeely, I'm indifferent on. And then I'm out on Hodges and Rogers.
Yeah, I think we all agree that this 8K range is loaded. I wouldn't be surprised if the winner came out of this range. And like my one comment on Cam Davis, he's been really good this year. This is a guy that we're used to seeing kind of in the 7K range. Obviously, it's a weak field, so pricing is adjusted. He has a win this year back at the Rocket Mortgage. Very impressive. Down the stretch there, I think a lot of that had to do also with a few other guys that were right there with them neck and neck, maybe, pissing down their leg a little bit. But Cam Davis got it done. And then it's his history, T10, T16, T12, T28. I mean, the guy has played very, very well here. So, there's a theme kind of going on. Guys that can hit the ball far, we want them. Fairways are easier to hit here. It's going to benefit those guys with long distance. That's why we like Finau. We like Cam Davis. We like Luke Clanton. Guy absolutely murders the ball and hits a ton of fairways too. So that is kind of the theme that we're all aligned on for sure. That I like so far. So I'm with you guys. I think we bumped up this range pretty nicely. You can see it there in the value section. A lot of these guys are going to pop 8.76. Value scores 8.6. I mean, Finau still our highest value, if you want to call it that. So when we factor in ownership in the contest sims, it's going to be interesting to see what roster construction looks like. Snyder, let's go back to you. Then we'll go to Uncle T. 7K range. With this range, since it's larger, talk to me about just the guys that you like, and I'm going to add them into the pool.
Yeah, there's, like I said, with the 8K range, there's a lot of guys in this range that I think are definitely taking merit here. I think like Ben Griffin's going to be a popular guy. I really like Sam Stevens. He's a guy that's averaging 20.2 birdies over his last 5 events. He was T10 at this event last year. 5th in greens regulation over the last 36 rounds as well. I think we see him finish near the top 10 like we did at the Rocket Mortgage. So heavy on Stevens up top. I like Thor. I think Thor's going to be low owned here. He hasn't really done much since the T2 at the John Deere Classic. Luckily, I haven't played those two lesser events. So hopefully he can battle back here. I think.
How's his driving distance? Your boy Thor.
Thor, he's got a couple of drives on record at about 411, I think is the longest he hit one at the John Deere Classic. 411 or 415, something like that. So he can definitely move it off the tee for sure. I like Mac Messner quite a bit here. He's rounding into form really well. 22 birdies, 25 birdies, 25 birdies in the last 5 events, or last 3 events, and heads into another birdie fest here. Has only shot over 68 once in his last 12 rounds, so I love the form and the upside that Mac's possessing here heading into this event. Another guy I've been kind of watching a little bit. His game's kind of finally trending up now that he's fully healthy, I believe. That's Johnny Vegas. He's finished 27th or better in 4 of his last 5 events, strong off the tee. Can make birdies if the putter heats up a little bit, so I like him. Andrew Novak was the soldier at the John Deere Classic where he finished 7th. He was 20th and 14th in the 2 events prior to that as well. So Novak is definitely a strong guy. He didn't play the best over in Scotland, finished 70th, but that's fine. He's back in the States now. I think Rico Huey's going to be the very popular guy that everyone goes down here. I'm not sure if I'm going to get to him or not, but he's got elite form heading in. So he seems to be like the easy plug-and-play guy that everybody's been talking up. Another guy down here is Max Gracerman. Then I'll let Uncle T hit on some guys. But Max Gracerman's been a guy I've been playing these last couple of months. He's finished 31st or better in his last 5 events. He's got 20 birdies in 3 of his last 4 events, too. So really like the upside that Gracerman has at 7.4K.
Any down in the lower 7K range that you're going to hit on? This range is massive.
Yeah, I think Jake Knapp has some upside for tournaments. He's a solid option at 7.3. Yeah, I think Neil Shipley definitely has upside in this weaker event. Showed some upside in that ISCO in the Kentucky was T6, was T20 at the Rocket.
He's been good, man.
Yeah, he's been solid.
Outside of the John Deere, he's been really good.
Yeah, I think Ben Silverman is a really strong play, 7,200. He showed top 20 upside quite a few times in these easier, weaker type field events, Birdie Fest type events. So those
Daniel
are my
Berger.
favorite.
It's so wild seeing Daniel Berger down there. I mean, in a weak field like this, it is surprising. Uncle T,
go ahead.
Here,
7K flat. I mean, this guy is a complete boomer bust guy, but this is one of the spots that he's played well at. That's Cameron Champ at 7K.
Cameron Champ.
He won this event back in 2021, and then he didn't play it last year, but he was T16 in 22 following up that win. So I think he's worth some piece of money or something down there.
Yeah, he can bomb it. Obviously, fits the theme. You don't have to get a lot of them to get him in, or to be overweight on him. But Uncle T, 7K range, not as loaded as the 8Ks. I think we'll all agree on that. But there are definitely some gems down here. What are you doing with this range?
Yeah, I'll make mine a little bit briefer since Snyder took like 12 dudes there in the 7K range. But the good part is
we're building our pool. We're building our pool. We need options.
The good part is he did leave me a couple, but I do like a lot of the guys he mentioned. So far in the show, I think Snyder and I are really lockstep, which is always a good sign. But I'll hit on a couple guys that he did not mention that I do think are nice plays here. Adam Hadwin at 7,900. I don't think he mentioned him. Pretty good course history. He's got a couple top 10s here. He struggled a little bit the last couple months. He was T3 back at the Memorial in early June. He's kind of struggled a little bit with his game. But again, there's a couple of these guys that haven't been playing as well, but they play really well here. And I'm going to value and maybe lean on a little bit of course history here to where these guys can come back and have a good tournament. And Adam Hadley is one of the guys. I think he's going to be pretty low owned. I love the Griffin and Stevens call. I'm out on his boy Thor. That's one guy we'll disagree on. I don't care as much for him. Meisner is one of my better kind of finds in this tournament here. I really like him here at 7,600, 50-1 to win the golf tournament. Been playing real well. He's a guy that's been trending really well. T10 at the John Deere, T4 last week. I think, at the Barracuda, I believe. And then Johnny Vegas. You mentioned Johnny Vegas. He doesn't, when Johnny Vegas plays well at a couple of these tracks, I kind of like to play him. T2 here a couple of years ago. I don't know. He hasn't been playing a ton of golf lately, but I think, like you said, I think he's back and healthy again. I don't mind him. Rico Hoey, I'm with you, Snyder. I think he's a nice play. He's trending, playing really well. I don't know if I'm going to get to him either, because I think he is going to kind of carry some ownership. Love the Gracerman and Novak call. A guy I don't think you mentioned was Doug Gim. I don't mind him down here at 6,500. Austin Eckroat, 7,200 flat, 50 to 1 to win the tournament. I like Austin Eckroat in this spot. And then just two other guys that I don't think you mentioned. Pearson Coody. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but 7,100. I don't mind him either. T2 last week or a couple weeks ago in Kentucky. He withdrew prior to the Barracuda last week, but I was doing some research on him earlier. I think it is fine on Coody, even though he withdrew last week. So I think he might be okay. And then Andrew Putnam. 7,000 flat, 100 to 1 to win the golf tournament. Again, he's a guy that's usually up and down, but he can show up at some of these lesser field events. And Cam Champ, I thought you were going to leave me for him. I like Cam Champ a little bit here. That's AP's guy. I'll have a little bit of a sliver of Cam Champ.
He's AP. Actually, I think one of the outrights I've hit on him. I haven't bet him in a long time. Probably last year maybe, but because he's just been so bad. But I think it was here. I think that this was one of the events. He's just a random guy that can randomly pop up and win it when it's you're least expecting it. Obviously, the driving distance helps him out there. But now the field, all of these guys are long, especially the young guys up and coming. They all hit the ball a mile. So I don't think that's a separator for him as much as it was maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago. But I still like him. I think the one guy I want to add in, Mackenzie Hughes. Good putter, has been playing decent. I think he's one guy that I like. Otherwise, we're all pretty much aligned. I love a lot of these plays. Johnny Vegas call. This is such a great track for him. Gracerman, I love that call. Jake Knapp is one that I think he makes for a really good tournament play. So it's going to be interesting when we run the contest sims to see where he lands there. I like this pool. Obviously we'll want to emphasize the 8K range, but there are some gyms down here in the 7K. We are limited. We did, eliminate a lot of players down here too, to make our pool a little bit more concentrated. So I like how this sets up. Let's go down to the 6K range. Uncle T, we'll start with you first. Then we'll go up to Snyder. And we have no 5Ks this week. So 6Ks, and then we'll run our builds. The Sims, we'll give our winners, and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah, 6K range, like the 7K without having the 5K. It's just a massive range of golfers here. And, with me pretty much going to lock maybe 70 or 80% of Finau, I'm probably going to dip down into I'm going to probably skip the night. I really like just, as the show's gone on, plugging Finau in with two of those 8K guys. And then I can finish out my lineups in this 7K range, which we just talked about and mentioned 15 to 18 guys that between the two of us we liked, or three of us we liked. I like finishing my builds in the 7K as we stand here on Tuesday night. But if we had to get into the 6K range, I mean, guys like Martin Laird, 6,900, Justin Lauer, who I've played probably more than most, and he's not a great golfer, but 6,800, don't mind him here. Going down a little bit further, Chad Ramey, 6,600, I don't mind. Troy Merritt, I think, is going to, he's had pretty good, decent course history here. He's had a couple miscuts and some, but you're looking at a $6,500 guy. Don't mind Troy Merritt. Tyler Duncan, 6,500. Don't mind him. Bryce Garnett, who's been playing awful golf, but again, good course history guy. Don't mind him either. But let me see if going back up. Carson Young at the very top, I think, could carry. I mean, none of these guys are going to be really owned, but he could maybe carry the most out of this 6K range. Carson Young, nice player, 120 to 1 to win the tournament. And then Justin Suh, 6,700, maybe a sliver of him. But really, guys, I don't want to get into this 6K range at all this week.
Yeah, very good. One I'm going to add just for myself, then we'll go to Snyder is
Nasty Nate Lashley?
No, actually, Lanto Griffin.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. We'll give Lanto some love. That's a play I have a ton of interest in. I thought he played well last week, just looking at things. So, but I'm with you. I really want to limit my exposure down here. So we're not being too aggressive with altering the projection. Snyder, what are you doing with the 6Ks?
Yeah, I'm right there with Uncle T. I don't think I'm going to actively try and get down to the 6K range as much as I need to. I mean, even if I do start, you can start Finau and Akshay, and you still got 7,400 left, your last 4 guys. So I really don't think it's a big deal to kind of get down into here that much. So really not going to try and get down here much. Like Alex Smalley would be a guy I'd look at 6,900. I think he's fine. I think Ben Coles is fine option at 6,800. Lanto, I was going to mention Lanto there too. A Dormy guy, T40 in his last event. He was T10 at the ISCO though, so he's got some upside there. And going.
I really like Lanto.
Yeah, I think he's solid option. Man, there are just some dusty guys down here. Soon you'll know. I think Soon you'll know is fine at 6,700. He's made the last couple cuts at the lesser events and has made the cut at this event the last 2 years. So I think he's fine.
Soon you'll know not to play him? Is that what, is that what we said?
The dude has some birdie upside, though. He was T6 at the ISCO, T24 last week at the Barracuda. So I don't mind him at 6,700. Callum Tarrant has some pretty good course history here. He was T13 and T7 the last 2 trips here. He was T21 at the ISCO event. So I think he's fine, but yeah, I'm really not trying to actively pursue any of these guys. Maybe Henrik Norlander is 6,500. He's made his last 3 cuts, and he's bettered his finish in the last 3 events as well. He was T11 at the Barracuda last week.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly fine for the 6Ks. Not getting too crazy with any of these projections. I mean, we really want to. I guess our consensus is we love the AKs. We've given them, some really nice bumps here. Cam Davis, Hoagie, a lot of these guys. And then we want the win upside guys as well. Tony Finau being our, by far, highest value ranking and projected ranking, but highest ownership projection too by a lot. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that factors in. We'll run this for fit. So I did this based off of the flagship tournament projected ownership. So we will run 50 builds. We don't need the pool size of all 5,000. I want to leave sim diversity high. With these type of events, you tend to see a lot of volatility. And so we want to mix it up a little bit. And we've been on these builds too. We've been keeping it higher, which is something I like. As far as rules go, we're not going to mess around with any rules yet. Rules that I might consider, possibly, maybe the 7K, 8K, I think leave them alone. But when you look at the 6K guys that we added into our pool, possibly limiting it to 1 max, I think that would be fine, just because I think the 8K range is so strong. So that's one rule that I might consider as well. And then we got the soldiers and general rules that we could throw in there. Just saying that we need at least one of those, 3 guys in all of our lineups. It's another rule that I kind of like. That's not forcing the hand of the build too much. Let's run this, and while this is running, let's talk through our winners. Then we'll talk through the builds, and then we'll be getting out of here. Uncle T, let's go to you first. 2 winners. Who you think's going to win, and then a longer shot. I think this is a great week for long shots.
Yeah, I really like this 8K range. I do think Tony Finau, and usually we'll see guys in most every week, every tournament every week is going to be 4, 5, 6, 7 to 1 in most tournaments. You're going to get Tony here at 11 or 12 to 1. I like these guys in the 8K range that are 30, 35 to 1 as well. And I'm going to have some outrights on them, but I'm going to go with Tony Finau. I know it's kind of the chalk play up top, but I just think he's so much better than the rest of these guys. If he can come and get off to a hot start, I think he could win this by 3 or 4. So I'm going to go with Finau up top. And then down below, there's a ton of guys that I'm going to take a shot on. But one kind of literally in the mid-range, 55 to 1 I'm seeing right now, Mac Meisner. I'm going to go with this guy. He's been trending, and sometimes with these guys that are kind of getting their feet under them, playing on the tour and playing these events, even though this one's a lesser field event, they gain a little bit more and more confidence. I mean, he's T20, T15, T4 the last 3 weeks. I'm going to take a shot here at this Meisner guy at 50-1.
Yeah, very good. That was actually one that I had highlighted as well. So glad to see that we're locked arm in arm on him. Snyder, who do you got for winners?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Akshay here. He was in the final group the last 2 events he played here stateside, T2 at the Rocket Mortgage, T5 at the Travelers. I think he's going to break through for a win this week or get another win here. So I definitely like Akshay at 20-1 at DraftKings that are partners there. So you can get 20-1 there. Another longer shot. I don't think it's long enough, but I'll give it. But I really think EVR is close. He's been so close at 4 Birdie Fests this year. He's finished inside the top 8 4 times this year at Birdie Fest. But I like a guy even a little lower than that. I'm going to go to my guy Andrew Novak at 70-1.
How are you guys stealing my guys? Oh my gosh, those are my Messner and Novak were my 2 long shots that I had highlighted. So I'm gonna have to find another one. I think it's a great week to build a portfolio of long shots. I think these are the weeks to do that. Your guys that like I have a good one actually. I have a good one. So it was my 3rd backup, which I can't believe I'm going through.
3rd backup. AP, before you get to your winners, Snyder, I need to get that 100 back from last week. Give me somebody over EVR. EVR sucks. Give me Pendrith, Hoagie, Davis, Griot, any of these guys in that range.
You can have Griot over him.
All right, I'll take Griot. He's got longer odds, but I'll go with Griot over EVR for a hundy.
Sure.
All right. Snyder always peels me. Somebody in the chat, make sure we remember.
I mean, we'll be able to remember this time. But Snyder, were you done? Do you have anything else to add, or are you good?
No, yeah, I'm just on those. I like the odds I think like you can hedge out of those 2 or higher odds. So I think it'll be. I think Finau or Akshay will probably be at the top, but we could see a guy like we've seen some longer odds win this event. So I definitely do think it's good to pepper some of these longer shots like you were mentioning. Yeah,
I just Thigala. So obviously love Finau and Akshay. I'm gonna, for my chalkier or lower odds pick, I'm gonna go with Thigala, 22-1, I believe. I'm a course history guy. I definitely am. I'm going to overlook it here just because Thigala is a different golfer now. He's really come alive this year. I think he can make birdies in bunches too. Like this is a track that should suit his eye. So I like Thigala up top, and then my third. Oh, okay. This is a long shot. Ben Coles. I think 150-1. And again, like this is a track where you can take some shots. When I won with Cam Champ, I think he was like 125-1. So don't be afraid to take some stabs. I think some of the best values for stabs though are in like the 55, 50, to 1 range. Your Patrick Rogers is up there. I thought Mackenzie Hughes kind of fit the mold there, a guy that can make a lot of birdies.
Sam Stevens is 50-1.
Yep. Mac. Obviously Uncle T mentioned him, so that's kind of where I'm at there. Let's bring our lineups up. Let's do this first. So obviously we added some bias into these lineups. Let's do our top 3 like we always do with min uniques, or our top 5. We got to keep the format the same. We can't go changing it up too much. So this is just sorting by highest projected score. We're not factoring in the contest sim. So it's just elevating our highest projected lineups based off how we adjusted the projection. So naturally, Tony Finau, Hadwin, a guy that we were like, Thor, a guy you like, Vegas. I mean, that's a really nice build. And then when we look at exposure, I would imagine, Tony Finau, Even when we sort it, when we add in 3-man uniques to create some diversification among these 5 lineups, he's still being locked. So like Uncle T, this was a strategy that you talked about, Snyder, you as well, just taking a bold stand on a guy like Tony Finau. So I don't mind doing that, especially if you're not maxing a contest. If you're not playing all 150, let's just say you're playing 50 of 150. I don't mind doing that because in my mind, you're still trying to play with the mindset of a 150 player. You want to match those guys that are playing 150. So I do typically take bolder stands. Any thoughts on, we'll go to you first, Snyder, on some of these builds that we're looking at right here? I mean, they look pretty spicy.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to lock Finau, but I'm definitely going to be overweight on him. I do want some action in there, but I think those are looking solid. I mean, I love the upside there. Hadwin's hitting a little more than I would probably play. I mean, 2 of the 5 ain't bad, I guess. I'll have him in some. I like the Novak and Clantons and stuff a little more, but yeah, I think there's some really, really good upside there. And those, it'll be interesting to see what the Sims puts up here next.
Yeah, we'll do that when we simulated it using the flagship Summer Sam trap, obviously 200K to first. Some call it the lotto, $50 or $18 buy-in, or maybe 20. I forget what it is. It switches. It's like 15, 18, 20. Sometimes it's 25 if it's a milli maker. Let's sort it by risk adjusted, return on investment, RAROI. And look, so this is going to factor in ownership, what our competitors are playing. And this is what I talked about. Even though we gave a very, very bold projection on Tony Finau, it's not full fading in these 5 builds. Now, if we bumped it up to 50 or something like that, it might be a little bit different. But we're not in these 5 builds. We're not fading Tony Finau. You can see him right there. He landed in one of them. I think what's happening here, and I actually kind of like it, is more of the roster construction. Actually, no, you see it with Figala in this top one. So we have a stud there. We have a stud here. That's the Tony Finau build. But you can see right here taking a stand on Cam Davis stuff. What's up, Snyder?
I think if you would increase the lineups with the min uniques at 3 for 5 lineups, it's kind of limiting him. He's still hitting 43% of the pool, though.
Yeah, we'll do this. So yeah, right there, you called it 42%. So we're kind of in line with the field, which I don't hate. And what this tells me is, even at a high projected ownership, it's a scary fading Tony Finau this week. Just looking at everything that we discussed and talked about. But Uncle T, let's get your thoughts on this. Now we're on the contest sim side of this, where obviously ownership is much more heavily factored in.
Yeah, I think we kind of talked about it. I know I did at the top of the show how I wanted to build, and as these sims kind of played out, it's kind of really how I want it. I want a lot of Finau. I don't mind, again, Akshay start my lineup, but and you can even play them both. But I like Finau, 2 of these 8K guys, and then 3 7s. Or again, depending if you go Finau and like Cam Davis, as this show has gone on, I like Cam Davis a lot. I really like him. I could easily see him winning his second event in the last 3 starts for him. But you can go up top there and then get literally and just pepper this 7K range. So my plan is to go similar to what we got here, not really use any of these 6K guys, and start up with Finau and then kind of alternate these 8Ks that we like, and then just pepper the 7Ks. And I just think that might be the optimal way to go this week. So I like what we did here, and I like where we're at. I don't like the Thigala call, but I do understand it. It feels like he should play better here than he has, and he's a good golfer. But for me, it's just not that big of a difference between price-wise, between not nearly enough price difference. That's my thing. I don't mind Thigala as a golfer, just not with this setup as far as the pricing and stuff. So,
and we're only getting, I think, 16% of them in this portfolio of builds. So,
I mean, would it shock me if he contended this week? Absolutely not. It's just a pricing thing. Too close to Finau for me.
I think it's kind of interesting how at the top there, Cam Davis is hitting hitting at 48% of the pool. The pool is only at 23%, but of the top 50 lineups, he's hitting at 48% of the sims. Same with like Thor and EVR. The sims like him, like their top upside versus the pool. Like, Thor is only hitting 17% of the pool's total lineups, but 40% of the top 50 he's hitting. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's a good. That's a good point right there. And I mean, if we change this back to projected score, you're going to see more of a massive stand on fee now, and then it kind of diversifies out from then, and a tighter pool, even though we still have 3 min unique. So the thing I love about SaberSim is no matter what your style is, there's so many different ways to dial in your build. If you want to be a little bit more contrarian, you can leverage the contest sims. I think that's for your multi-entry players. That is obviously the plus EV route to go. If you're playing less lineups, if you're more of a casual players, and if you want your builds to reflect kind of your biases, you can sort by projected score. I mean, it's golf. Like, things happen. The guys that you're on 1 week can crush, and you can absolutely do well. So, and that's a little bit more of my style. But the thing I absolutely love is incorporating the min unique. So, like, I can have, like, that's typically what I do. When you see my core on the website, those 3 golfers, they're typically going to be between 45 and 75%. It's going to be up there. I still usually run 3 uniques. That gives me enough diversification in my lineups while still taking stands on 3 guys that I'm very overweight on relative to the field. So that's a strategy that I've been deploying, quite a bit. And then if you're, new to the show this week, over the last 2 or 3 weeks, we really got into the Saber score. So just getting there, which they have predefined criterias that they use, or constraints that they use to identify what golfers that they want to bring up. That adds a little bit different uniqueness, and it's more tied to the field size that you're getting into. So, 50K plus field, you're going to be obviously playing a different pool of lineups than 100 to a 1K type of field. So just so much that you can do with SaberSim. It's such a powerful and such a great tool. Final thoughts, Snyder.
That's kind of similar to the contest sim. So if someone's watching this and be like, well, I don't max the $20 turn, the MME or whatever, you can use the contest sims for every single contest they have. If you're only playing, 5 lineups or 3 lineups, you can run the sims for the 3 max. The 20, they have every contest. You can run the sims for every contest. So if you're only playing 3 to 5 lineups or something like that, you can still get a lot out of the sims, even for like cash games and stuff for other sports and stuff. You can get a pretty good grasp for a lot of that. But excited for this event more so as we kind of dove into it. I really like the path I think I'm going to take. I think there's a lot of win equity down into the 8s and 7s like we've kind of talked about. So hopefully it turns out to be a good event. We'll have the Showdown playbook and the cash chart and all that up, and Showdown going forward for this event like usual.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this event. I love these events, the weaker field type of events where we have certain guys that we're laser focused on, and then we can kind of broaden out and get a little bit more diversified, take some unique stands. Uncle T, final thoughts.
Yeah, similar to you guys. Again, not the best event coming off a major. It's always just a little bit of a downer for me anyway. But again, still some big contests, obviously up top, a lot of money to be made. And the Showdown content's been crushing too. So don't forget about the Showdown content. Appreciate everybody in chat. Next week, we got a couple weeks where, the Olympics next week. And then I think there's one more, maybe the Wyndham. And then we get into the playoffs where, we'll have all the big boys, right? 3 weeks in a row, I think it is. I don't think they have a week off in between the second and third one, but they might. I can't remember when NFL starts. But, some good golf coming up. Just a couple, again, lesser events coming up the next couple weeks. Olympics next week. We'll figure out the coverage and what we're going to do next week. But, appreciate everybody joining us, and good luck. Let's see some RPS logos at the top.
Very well said. Couldn't have said it any better. The only thing that I will add is hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. Good luck in your lineups this week. And as always, run pure.